Afternoon. It is November 21. We're going to be talking today about traveling to Korea. How are you going to get here? All right. Well, things that are really fluid right now. Living with COVID is the new mantra. It's kind of going off the rails. We'll talk a little bit about that. We're going to talk about the state of Korea right now. How you can get to Korea as a tourist or job or what have you. And also, one point I'm going to talk about is if you're in Korea, how can you go out and come back? Okay, we're going to talk about that. I want to give a quick shout out to everyone who is new to my channel. Thank you so much for watching my video. I really appreciate it. I'm just a simple guy, Canadian guy, living here in Korea, trying to just share information. I started this channel just for fun as a digital diary, and now it's kind of a little bit snowballing into something new. I want to say thank you to Brown Beauty Abroad for your comment. I really appreciate it. I was watching your channel, really great videos. Thank you. Keep up the great work, okay? Korea Pan Pianist, thank you again for your comments. I'm really appreciate the time you take to make a comment. Chef Pizza, nice to see you. Thank you again for yours. Prohodaction, thank you again for watching. I really appreciate it. And Jan T, I'm doing this for fun. I'm doing it for you. Thank you again. If you really like my channel, just click a like button on this video. Subscribe if you'd like to. It helps my video get out there more. I know you guys know that. If you could just help me, I'd greatly appreciate it. Let's get into my story. State of Korea today, end of November. The government is talking about rolling back some of the COVID openings. Like bars and restaurants are now open 24 hours. Clubs are open till midnight. That is supposed to change in December 15th, where they were going to expand it a little bit more. But we've been having 3,000 infections plus every single day since this started, and that's not a good thing. But I post this on my Facebook all the time. What do those numbers mean? It's not 3,000 people out in public. It's people in clusters, and these clusters are old age homes, group homes, hospitals, schools, those kinds of things that are having these clusters. And it's people who are not infected, not vaccinated, young people and very old people. The very old people who weren't able to get vaccinated, and people who got vaccinated almost a year ago, in February. So approximately 80% of the people who are in ICU are over 60 years of age. So that's why the government has now taken the path of reducing the time for the booster. The booster was supposed to be 6 months. They've now reduced it to 4 months for those over 60 and 5 months for those over 50, which means me, being over 50, I will be getting my booster in January. I was supposed to schedule it for February. I'm going to get it in January. I may even get it sooner than that because I was fully vaccinated in August. So I'll get mine in January. I'm going to talk to my doctor. He's checking things out for me. Anyway, what does that mean for travel? Well, coming to Korea is still not easy. There are a few countries that will be accepted for tourists, but you have to get a visa. There is no visa on arrival for anyone anymore. Again, this changes every day, so please check with your local Korean embassy. They will know the answers to the question. So if you're in America, contact the Korean consulate in America because it's their job to issue visas. They will know the answers, not the embassy here or not the immigration department here in Korea. They don't know because it's not their job to know what's going on in America. It's their job to know what's going on in Korea. So please get that understanding that contacting the embassy in your country is where you should start. Second, you must get if you've been vaccinated, okay, and coming to Korea, you must get a quarantine exemption, okay? This will prove that your vaccination is correct, okay? Because only the embassy in your area, in your country, will know the paperwork. That's what happened in the past, is that people were just showing up in Korea with their paperwork, and nobody here knows what those papers mean, right? So getting a vaccine, a quarantine exemption in your country from the Korean embassy will help you expedite that process. Coming to Korea without that and having a visa will mean that you will spend 10 to 14 days in a government quarantine facility, which you will pay for anywhere from $1,500 to $2,000. And it's not fun. It's boring. The food is not all that great. Not fun. The process coming through Incheon has not changed. There's lots of videos out there talking about it. So I'm not going to go into detail of it. You arrive. You do follow all these processes, steps, and tests, and blah, blah, blah. You have to get a test before you leave, and you have to do another test after you arrive. And then 7 days later or 10 days later, something like that. Now, coming to Korea for a job, part of that process will be getting the vaccine quarantine exemption. Your company will slightly demand that because they don't want to pay $2,000 just to get you over here because they're already paying for your air ticket or whatever. So they're not going to do that. So if you're applying for like a teacher job or something like that, I would suggest getting vaccinated and putting that as part of your resume. I'm fully vaccinated and don't have a problem in getting the quarantine exemption. That'll be part of your process, okay? Anyway, of getting your visa to come to Korea. I'm suggesting to everyone, just avoid this quarantine stuff and get your vaccine. Get vaccinated and get your vaccine certificate. Or sorry, quarantine exemption. All right, so that's coming to Korea. There still really isn't any tourism. Now, if you're not a Korean citizen, you're not a permanent resident or don't have a visa, you can still come to Korea if you have family here. If there is a death, a wedding, or some serious business or education concern. Now that is up to immigration to decide, or the embassy in your country. It's up to them to decide. Now, there's been some confusion about this education, not to be a teacher or using that as an excuse to bypass quarantine. It's not going to happen. You got to follow the rules, and I've seen stories, people thinking they can get here, and they get here and they get turned right back around and back to whatever country they came from. So I've seen it on my Facebook Facebook groups that I belong to, where people are saying, what do I do? I came, they turned me around. They're in the detention center or transit area at the airport and they're typing away, what do I do? And they said, well, you can't do anything. You didn't follow the rules. So please avoid this no matter where you're going. Somebody said like, oh, I want to go to Japan. I'm like, what are you thinking? For the holidays? There's no travel. It's only 2 countries that Korea has signed travel bubbles with. Singapore and Saipan, I think. Or Taiwan or something. One of those 2 countries. Right? So don't worry, don't get all, oh, we're gonna go travel. It's not happening. Now, here's the big thing about people like me living in Korea with a visa. Serious changes and huge hurdles for us. To leave the country, number 1, you have to apply for a re-entry permit. Never had to do this before. In the 13 years that I've lived here, never had to do it before. A re-entry permit. If you don't, and you leave and you come back, your visa's gone. Okay? You have to get that re-entry permit. It's done online. No problem. Free. Little problem, it's only good for a year. Okay? From the date that you want to leave. So that's, for me, that's a little bit of a problem scheduling because I'm planning on leaving in March, and I didn't want to come back until June of the following year. So I wanted to be gone 14 months. It used to be a 2-year re-entry permit. Now it's only 1 year. Again, that might change. Not going to change today. The second thing is that You need the re-entry permit. You have to check what country you're going to, what are their entry requirements, what paperwork you need, what, etc. To leave Korea, you need not a PCR test. I'm sorry, I forgot what it is. It's the more advanced test, which takes a little bit longer, and it's gonna cost you money. It's not the free test that Koreans have been doing every day, 200,000 people with the nose swab. It's not that one, it's a different test. So that needs to be done 72 hours before you fly. People are showing up at the airport trying to get it done at the airport. Can't be done. You got to book it in advance, 30 days in advance. If you're flying out in the morning, you got to do it the night before. Okay, so you got to stay in the hotel in the airport area. If your flight is in the evening, you got to come in the morning and hang around the airport for 8 hours. It's usually 6 to 8 hours before that test is done. Or you can do it in Seoul a day or two before at hospitals or clinics that are registered. It's going to cost anywhere from $100 to $200. Okay. What's the next thing you got to do? Got to be masked. Got to have. People are talking about printed copies of their Korean vaccination in English. Those can be done at your local health office, and there are tons of videos. Just Google it, how to print it off from your Korean health app. So even if you don't understand Korean or read Korean, you can follow the directions on the Korean health app. If you're a visa holder, you have access to this app because you are paying into the healthcare system. So you have access to this application. I can't remember the name of it, but you just Google it, and there's tons of videos I've seen on how to download and print the vaccine certification in English, which you can use when you land in the country that you're going to. The last thing that I want to talk about is something that I've heard, and I don't know if this is legal or what have you, but I kind of feel that it is because of the situation. E2 visas are sponsored visas, which means you are owned by the company that hired you. They control your time in the country. Now, they don't own you. I don't want to say it like that, but they have a huge influence over what it is that you do. Be it legal, may not be legal, be it moral, may not be moral. But the reality is that because of the way the visa are structured, if they don't want you anymore, they cancel your visa and you gotta go. It's that simple. There's no choice. Okay, immigration is not there to mediate your contract disputes. Those are civil issues. And once they cancel your visa, you got 14 days to leave the country. Not enough time to find a lawyer and sue somebody, right? So here's the thing that I heard. Schools are telling their teachers they cannot leave the country. Number one. Number two, they're telling them they can't go out on the weekends. That is a little bit, you can't do that. You can't control people's private lives. But they can't control it, but they can't fire you. Right? Which, perfectly legal. They can fire you with 30 days notice. Okay? Or they pay you 30 days and you're gone right away. Okay? That happens, you're out of your apartment. So you got to balance, what am I willing to fight for? I'm going to get into a lot more videos about these issues that happen between schools and teachers, especially the E2. There's a lot of politics and crap going on, and I belong to a Facebook group that tries to help teachers with legal problems, and the number one thing is that I'm going to get into it in another video. That's a whole other video, but it's like huge issues going on right now in that space, but not related to COVID, but it's kind of bleeding in. So that is what is going on right now. Is it going to change? I am very positive it's going to change for the better, because as of today, we are at 90%. Sorry, let me take a quick look at the numbers here. As of today, November 21, we are 80%, 79% fully vaccinated. 79% fully vaccinated. 93% of the population that is over 18 has got their first dose, which means they will be getting their second dose within 6 weeks, which means 93% of the population over 18. Over 18. You got to remember that. When I go out in public to a bar or a restaurant, it's predominantly those over 18. America has just started vaccinating 5+, and Korea is going to investigate that this month with a plan to decide this month or before the end of the year, decide what they're going to do for the 5-year-old plus. We are never going to get to 100% because under 5 probably can never be vaccinated. But according to the numbers that we've had, the vaccination rates and the previous vaccination rates, because I have access to those numbers, they're public information, people who got vaccinated first, the first dose, I know exactly how many people were vaccinated on each day, and if you extrapolate those numbers by 4 to 6 weeks, I know when those people will be vaccinated, and according to the calculations that I have, we will be at 80% fully vaccinated by the end of this month. So in 1 week. 1 week or 7 days. 7 to 10 days. 7 to 10 days, which will put us December 1st. And that will mean we are the #1 country in the world with a population over 10 million. Right? Right now we are #1, higher than Spain, but we're number 10 in the world for percent of population fully vaccinated. But these are countries with like 100,000 people, 60,000 people, tiny islands. Okay, so we're going to be getting there. So things will change as we move forward, and Korea will start opening up. But it'll be opening up for those that are fully vaccinated. That is the key here. The government has said that in no specific terms, but if you're not vaccinated, don't expect to live in Korea. Like, participate in life. And for us to leave Korea and come back will be a lot easier as well. There's a few things to be figured out with the foreigner expat community, but that will be integrated slowly as time moves forward. Not to fear. So things are, I see them turning around January, February. And as most of you know, I'm leaving in March. So hopefully, I get everything taken care of properly. But anyway, that is how you can expect to travel to Korea. If you have any questions or comments, please post them below. I'll be happy to answer any questions anyone has or point you in the direction of where you can find that information. Stay safe, stay vaccinated, stay healthy, wear a mask. Itaewon Sammy, King of Gangnam, Gangnam Sammy. I'm out.